Is this the new Fabia VRS? Traction kicking in. It's quicker than I expected. Right then, welcome back to the channel, and today we've got something that I know you're going to like because all the top videos on our YouTube channel are all 4-cylinder diesel engines. Now, they are all PD, but they've all got our turbo kit on there, so I'm hoping you are going to like this one. It is a 4-cylinder diesel engine, but this is the M47 engine. Like I've said, this also has our GTB turbo kit on there, AM filter, front mount intercooler. It's got a 4-bar map sensor, 2700 bar fuel pressure sensor, and the 535D injectors. And to be fair, considering that's all it's got, still running the stock head, stock cam, and at the minute, stock clutch and flywheel, pretty impressed with what power this is actually doing. So bear in mind this is also a rear wheel drive. I think for a 4-cylinder 2-litre diesel engine, is this the new BKD? The new Fabia VRS? Let's have a look at the graph. So as you can see, 306.2 horsepower and just over 450 foot-pound of torque. Really, really good power figures. Like I've just said, with the list of modifications on this, it's not actually a lot. Turbo kit, injectors, front mount, map sensor, pressure sensor, and this has got custom exhaust on it as well. I'm not a BMW guy. I've always owned VWs, Audis. I'm a VAG man, not a VAG man. But although I've never owned a BMW, I've drove plenty of the 30Ds and the 35Ds that we've done here, and similar N47 engines. I think the last one that we did 275 horsepower. I think that one did. So maybe my opinion's a little bit biased as to whether you should go out and buy one of these over, say, a Fabia VRS or a Polo or a Golf GTD. I don't know, but the price of the cars is pretty cheap. The price of the modifications to get it over 300 horsepower I don't think is massively out of the way, and for a car that's rear wheel drive and 450 foot-pound of torque, I think it should be plenty of fun. I think you'd be able to have more fun in that than you would in a Fabia VRS. Just saying. So we'll get this off the dyno, see what it actually drives like. So we are out in the 320D on what is a beautiful winter's morning. Nice and sunny, but it is still only 2 degrees out there, so not the best conditions to be test driving a rear wheel drive tuned diesel with 455 foot-pound of torque, but we'll work with it. So just as we let the car get up to temperature a little bit more, as we said earlier on in this video, this is the M47 engine, not the N47 engine. So as far as I'm aware, this doesn't have all the same timing chain issues. I believe this engine is actually deemed as being quite reliable, really. I think they have the common EGR cooler issues. There probably are some other common issues on these, but I don't think it's as catastrophic as the timing chain failure that seems to become quite problematic on the N47 engines. So I think this is a pretty good platform to be tuning. Like I said, in comparison to the VAG 4-cylinder diesels, is this a good alternative? I think these cars you can get them for about £4,000 now, so they're not expensive, and for the money you're getting quite a nice car. It's got a BMW badge on it, which is a nice thing to have. Yeah, the interior on this looks to be some kind of M performance package, whether this has been added after or it comes from factory, but it's got some nice carbon trims and perforated leather steering wheel. Seems nice. The main thing, what you're all here for, you're not bothered about the spec, you just want to know what it goes like, so let's find out. It's quicker than I expected. I don't know if I were going to jump into this after driving the 30Ds and the 35Ds and be a little bit underwhelmed, but it seems pretty good. Nice and punchy, quite responsive. You can definitely feel the torque put you back into your seat a little bit. I think that definitely helps with the weight of these compared to the heavier 3-litre siblings of this car. I think these are about 1400 kilo, 1500 kilo, probably depends on the spec, but yeah. Feels good. Although it is cold out there, it's nice and dry, so we've got no issues with the rear wheels wanting to spin up and put me into a ditch somewhere, but I mean, that's 4th gear. And it does not want to stop pulling. You can really feel the torque in this. Being a manual, it's probably not going to set anyone's world on fire. 0 to 60 time. I think the 0 to 60 times are now dominated by the DSGs and the 8 HP gearboxes, where you can actually load up the car, brake boost it, and actually get a good launch, whereas the manuals, a lot more manual input, no pun intended there, but it's mainly down to the driver rather than the car to get a good 0 to 60 time. But I think this, 100 to 200, I imagine will be pretty good. Very punchy. And like I said, it just wants to pull all the way to the red line. And that's the good thing about the 2260 turbo kit. For some cars it's probably a little bit too big, but this is the sweet spot for that turbo. 300 horsepower, you've got enough low down torque and power for it not to feel laggy. I mean, you can just cruise around in what, 5th gear, 6th gear, and it doesn't feel like it's labouring. But the top end is where the 2260 really comes into play, and it just don't want to stop pulling. This revs to what, 5 grand, all the way up to the red line. It's constantly putting you in the back of your seat. I'm also quite surprised that the standard clutch and flywheel in this is still holding up. It's done 124,000 miles, so whether the clutch and flywheel's been done recently, I'm not sure, but the customer has said it's definitely on the original because he is wanting to come back into the workshop at some point for us to put a performance SRE kit in there, and there's also talks of potentially upgrading the cams and the fuel pump to an R90 fuel pump, so there's more power to be had. This is not the limit. See what it's like from the lower gears. So 2nd gear, traction kicking in. Oh. I know I mentioned these like 0 to 60 are probably not as quick as an auto, but I feel for driving experience, you can't beat a manual. So in the dyno, I did kind of compare this to a Fabia VRS. Could this be the new Fabia VRS? Which there's definitely a big diesel following for that kind of car. The PD engines, obviously it's kind of where we started, and I don't think this is, well, I don't think anything can replace it really. It is what it is. People love the PD engines, but keep going back to it. This BMW 4-cylinder diesel engine for an engine with stock head, stock cams and everything, doing over 300 horsepower and comfortably, it does it pretty well. So I don't know, maybe you've had a Fabia VRS, you're getting a little bit older, you're in your 30s like myself, your boy racer days have not quite done, but maybe you just want to change up from the hot hatch and get yourself a nice saloon, maybe a bit of a daily family car, but still want to have fun maybe this is a good option for you. Let you decide. So we'll head back, get this back to the customer. Hopefully you've liked this video. If you have, click the like button, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you in the next video.